Three alleged perpetrators in Bali shooting case arrested in Indonesia and Australia. And government stops short of halting all nickel mining in Raja Ampat. Stay tuned for details on these and other stories. Selamat pagi. Welcome to the latest news from Bali, Indonesia. This is June 18th, 2025, and my name is Bruce. And yes, I'm back, kind of. We'll talk about that later. Stay tuned at the end of the video if you want to find out what my plans are. Otherwise, we're just going to go on as usual. And what is the weather like today? Well, the weather has been so weird lately. It's kind of the dry season, but it's been raining almost every day, at least part of the day. And right now, well, a little hazy, but really nice. No wind. Wind speed is 4.8 kilometers per hour, and the temperature is 30.0 degrees Celsius. But what happens is what's been happening, for the last I don't know how many years, is this time in June when we go into the dry season, we get nice and calm early in the morning, and then around 10 o'clock wind starts to pick up, and by noon, wow, it is really windy. So I don't know what's happening here. Climate change, I guess. And well, let's go on and get started with our stories. And of course, the main one is what has been happening with the shooting case here in Bali. And well, some new developments, and I picked this up just this morning, and I've changed this story already 3 times since yesterday evening because new information keeps coming out. And so by the time you see this, there may be something else that comes out. But we'll go with this. This is from Radar Bali this morning. Australian national shooter in Badung arrested at Soekarno-Hatta airport. Australian police arrest 2 perpetrators in Melbourne. The tragic shooting case of 2 Australian citizens in Badung, Bali has finally been resolved. Zivan Redmanamik died at the scene while Sanar Ghanim suffered serious injuries. 3 perpetrators suspected of being involved have now been arrested. 1 perpetrator was successfully secured by the immigration office at Soekarno-Hatta airport on Monday evening. 2 other perpetrators were arrested by the Australian Federal Police in Melbourne in the early hours of Tuesday. The disclosure of this case, which has attracted public attention, is the result of excellent cooperation between the Badung Police, Bali Police, the National Police Criminal Investigation Unit, Immigration, Interpol, and the Australian Federal Police. They got heavy guns out there for this. The initial arrest was made by the Soekarno-Hatta Class 1 Special Immigration Office. Officers were suspicious of a burly man who entered the International Departure Terminal. When asked for identification, he tried to escape and was finally secured. Immigration immediately coordinated with the Criminal Investigation Agency of the Indonesian National Police. The perpetrator admitted to coming from Bali using land routes and intended to return to his country via Jakarta. When asked why he did not go through Igusti Ngurah Rai International Airport, the perp finally admitted his involvement in the crime in Bali. The perpetrator also admitted that his actions were carried out with 2 of his friends who had previously fled to Australia. Armed with this information, Criminal Investigation Agency of the Indonesian National Police, through Interpol, coordinated with the Australian Federal Police. As a result, 2 other perps were successfully secured in Melbourne on Tuesday morning and immediately flown to Bali. Considering that the scene of the crime is in the Badung police area, the perpetrator, who was arrested in Jakarta, was also taken to the Badung police headquarters for further development. Although he did not detail the exact number of perpetrators or chronology of the arrest, the chief of police said 1 person was arrested from Jakarta and there were others arrested from outside while traveling from abroad. The details will be released by the Bali police, once they get around to finishing their interrogation of the 3 suspects. As previously reported, the shooters and 2 victims are suspected of being part of a gangster group in Australia. This analysis is based on the results of the crime scene and statements from a number of witnesses. And there's been a lot of talk about this, as you might expect, and people in the tourism industry worried that this is going to ruin Bali's brand. It's always worrying about tourists. Are they going to be scared off? So, pretty bizarre situation here. Wow, Bali is getting weirder and weirder. And let's go over to Raja Ampat. And Raja Ampat, I really love Raja Ampat. I've been there 5 or 6 times. I don't remember, last time was in 2017. Gorgeous back then. I've heard on social media lately people there, because there's a lot of people going there now. When I went there, I think I saw about 3 tourists. Now, a lot of people going there, a lot of homestays. Reports that they're starting to see trash in the ocean there. Wow, which was not there 8 years ago. Unfortunate. And this is a story about mining over there. Government stopped short of halting all nickel mining in Raja Ampat. Despite growing public outrage and mounting environmental concerns, the Indonesian government has not completely stopped nickel mining in the ecologically fragile Raja Ampat region of Southwest Papua. On Tuesday, the state secretary announced that mining permits for 4 out of the 5 companies operating there have been revoked. The exception, PT Gog Nickel, which has been allowed to continue. The decision follows widespread circulation of activist videos showing ecological damage to these biodiverse islands. The energy minister said the 4 companies lost their licenses for violating regulations and failing to submit required 2025 work plans, mandatory for mining to proceed. But PT Gog Nickel has remained operational because it secured its 2025 work plan and is legally protected under a 2004 law that allows 13 companies to mine in protected areas, despite a 2023 constitutional court ruling that bans mining on islands smaller than 2,000 square kilometers. Environmental watchdogs, including Greenpeace and Jatam, argue that this legal loophole undermines environmental protections and constitutional law. More than 500 hectares of forest have already been destroyed, according to Greenpeace. Critics also point out that Gog Nickel is a subsidiary of Antam, a state-owned enterprise, suggesting conflicts of interest may be at play. Surprise, surprise. Greenpeace and other activists are demanding a complete and permanent end to mining on small islands, not just permit revocations that can later be reversed. They stress the need for full audits, community consultation, and stronger enforcement of existing environmental laws. The House of Representatives has even suggested a moratorium or outright ban on mining in the area. Let's hope so. Greenpeace's global head of Indonesia's forest campaign said nickel mining permits for small islands across eastern Indonesia has led to ecological destruction and severely impacted the lives of local communities. We demand full and permanent protection of Raja Ampat, which we hope will be done by revoking all active and inactive permits for mining operations, especially given that, in the past, revoked permits could be reissued. Greenpeace urged the government to conduct a comprehensive review of these permits. All development in Indonesia, particularly in Papua, must uphold the principles of humanity, justice, meaningful public participation, and the right to free, prior, and informed consent for indigenous and local communities. In response, the minister defended Gog Nickel's continued operation by highlighting its economic value, producing 3 million tons of nickel ore. However, experts like Al Ayubi from Indonesia, Cerah, warned that the problem is systemic. Permits issued as far back as 2017 have only recently come under scrutiny, revealing serious gaps in oversight, transparency, and public accountability. And here is a case, if the government wants to look at this just economically, how much money are they going to get out of this nickel mining versus all the money that is coming in from foreigners going into Raja Ampat to dive, to snorkel, to swim with the whale sharks. A lot of money there. And we're just leaving out the ethical considerations of protecting the planet. Okay, let's go on to water, right, and PDAM. Ouch! Badung PDAM service water is cloudy like coffee. Oh, yuck. Residents demand compensation. Here's the director's response. For the umpteenth time, the PDAM service in Badung Regency, Bali has experienced problems again. Surprise, surprise, again. The water flowing to customers' homes is murky and even black like coffee water. This is not the first time this has happened. It's happened repeatedly. We are losing patience. If residents are late in paying, they'll be fined. What's the responsibility of PDAM Bali for water services like coffee, let alone for drinking, even for bathing? It's disgusting, said a resident of Banjargede Simpidi. They say PDAM is a regional drinking water company, but the fact is it's not even suitable for bathing, said Puji, another Simpidi resident. Other residents even reported that if they bathed in this murky water, it would cause itching. It's itchy, sir. When I take a bath, I'm confused about whether I want to take a bath, said Hendra, another resident. Previously, on May 26th of this year, the service was the same. The water was murky and black. Some residents were even forced to bathe with refilled water. Wow, this is the richest area. PDAM's Badung service is like this, said Irwan, a resident of Canggu. Previously, PDAM Badung President Director Iwayan Suyasa argued that he was flushing the network, aka cleaning the water machine, so the service was disrupted. But in fact, it is currently problematic again. When confirmed on Monday afternoon via WhatsApp, Suyasa admitted that there was a disruption in service. The turbidity at several service points was caused by the off of dirt in the Dharmasabha due to the lifting of valve 8 in DP6, which was affected by the excavation of sidewalk construction by PUPR Badung. Okay, so some of that technical mumbo jumbo didn't understand, but some excavation going on, and I guess it got into the water supply. Hopefully that will be resolved or is already resolved. And let's finish up with one of my favorite stories, the governor and what else? Arak. Wayan Koster ensures Balinese Arak will go international, says it will soon be exported to China. Yeah, let's get those Chinese drunk. Bali Governor Wayan Koster said that steps to introduce Balinese Arak on the international stage are starting to show results. After issuing the Bali Governor Regulation Number 1 of 2020, concerning the management of fermented and or distilled beverages typical of Bali, Balinese Arak is now ready to go international. The governor said the response from Balinese Arak business actors was very fast and a lot of research was carried out immediately. He further said 2 years since the enactment of the regulation on Arak, a number of Balinese Arak products are ready to be distributed abroad with very good packaging. And so there are 66 Balinese Arak products with different brands and very nice packaging. And I guided directly, well, the bottle packaging is good. Then also given Balinese script as the identity of Bali. That's a nice touch. So that we can compete with the packaging of alcoholic beverage products from abroad. I think it's not much different from foreign alcoholic beverage products. I'm encouraging this. I encourage hotels and restaurants to use Balinese liquor products, he continued. Local Balinese MSMEs and local Balinese industries have been able to compete with beverages from abroad, he said. The governor also ensured that Arak could compete because the raw materials come from lone tar palms, coconut palms, and sugar palm trees, where the water produced is very sterile water and very healthy water, then processed in a traditional way, namely distillation. So the raw materials and the manufacturing process are very natural. The governor said the results are very good. That's why, in terms of quality, I ensure that Balinese Arak is not inferior to drinks from outside, like soju, sake, whiskey, vodka, and others. So we can be proud, he explained. The governor said that Arak Bali will soon go international, and reportedly it will soon be exported to China. There's already an administrative process about this ongoing. Teams from China, the government, and private sector have visited the industry in Bulalang. Koster said that the industry has met the requirements of the POM body. There's a tax stamp on the packaging of the drinks, and the products have all met standards. The Chinese team, he said, conducted research in several countries that have alcoholic beverages, including Bali. Well, it turns out that the one chosen was Bali. So I think it won't be long before the realization of Balinese Arak becomes international. So you Arak drinkers, good news. It's going international. Okay, and that is it for today. here's an update on what's going on. So it's been 3 months since I've done one of these videos, and I did a video the other day of a dance performance at my granddaughter's graduation from elementary school here in Singaraja. And what I have been doing over the last few months has been doing writing on Substack. And so my Substack account, or my Substack platform, whatever it is down here below in the links. And I've been writing an article or an essay and publishing that every Saturday. And then I've been doing a podcast, old-fashioned podcast like I used to do like 20 years ago. No video, just sound, and kind of like this, talking about 5 major news stories internationally, so covering a lot of different places that I don't talk about here, of course, like Africa, South America, Europe, and the US. And so I do that every Sunday. So Saturday is a written essay or article. Sunday is a podcast. I'm planning on doing a video once a month on anthropology in the news. A lot of news about anthropology. I like to talk about that. And what I'm thinking is that I'm going to go back to doing some of these news from Bali and Indonesia, but only once a week. I'm not going to be doing every other day, just too much. Just setting up today, while compared to doing the podcast, I take a microphone, plug it in, and that's done. It's set up. I record it, I'm done, finished. The whole thing takes a half an hour, whereas this takes quite a long time. So that's my plan. And if you want to see any of the stuff that I'm doing over in Substack, as I said, you can check on the link down below to see what's going on there. And my plan right now is to be doing one of the news reports here on Bali and Indonesia every Wednesday. So Wednesday, news report on Bali and Indonesia. Saturday, my essay or article on Substack. Sunday, a podcast on Substack. And once a month, a video on anthropology in the news. And so that's what I'm up to. And taking care of grandkids and my wife and a lot of stuff going on here, as usual, up in the kampung. So I appreciate all the people that asked me what was going on and wishing me success. And I've been happy with it. And, well, there's a lot of reasons for that, and I'm not going to go into that right now. But thanks for viewing. Be kind to someone today. Take care, and I'll see you next week.